Give it a good once-over.
Giving us the once-over.
Giving him the once-over.
Give me a once-over.
Down to give us the once-over.
For a routine once-over.
Once-over.
Oh, just once over lightly.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I am Kaylee, and today we are here giving the once over to another movie haul because I can't help myself and I love physical media. So we're back again, baby. I think I've done like 4 haul videos this year already. I'm sure that there will be more. I have a problem. I can't help it. Physical media is like one of the best things in the world, right? Who doesn't want to own copies of things so that they don't go away because streaming platforms take them away, and that's malarkey, and I don't like it. So yeah, today we're going to be going over a haul that I got while I was in Detroit this past weekend. I was there doing a live event with Who Are These Podcasts, which was absolutely incredible. We'll get into a little bit of talk relating to that whole thing, but my overall notes about Detroit is I love Detroit. We are more specifically in Ferndale when we go there, and Ferndale is just this really beautiful little suburby sort of town. It's adorable. There's lots of good restaurants and lots of good shopping. I did a lot of additional shopping in addition to all the movies that I got. But let's go ahead and get into some of the movies that I picked up. I got a couple of gems. I got a couple of things that have been on my list for stuff I've wanted for a really long time. And in addition to that, I bought a couple of movies that I'm pretty sure I already own, but that's just fine and dandy because sometimes that happens. I really should be making a list of these things, but I just don't do that because that would be responsible. I don't know. It would take time, I feel like, is the issue. And I would rather hang out with you guys than write a list of things. Maybe we'll do a list video one day. That's not fun at all. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. Let's look at movies. The first one that we are going to be looking at today that I picked up on this haul when I was in Detroit is the movie Valley Girl. Yay. This is like the most 80s cliche of all 80s cliche movies. It came out, I think, in like 1983. It's definitely early 80s. And it stars Deborah Foreman, who plays like this total Valley girl. And she's super cool and like really awesome. And then she meets Nick Cage's character, who is a loser punk. And this is kind of like the era that I really hated Nicolas Cage for a long time, but I have finally come around on him, and so I love this movie. I struggled with him as an actor for a really long time. I finally figured out that my issue with him is that he's so over the top. He's a caricature of a human, and I had a really hard time dealing with that, like emotionally, for quite some time when it came to him. But now that I have realized that he is intentionally overacting in many situations, I really, really like his style. So obviously this is kind of your stereotypical 80s story about 2 kids who are very different, but they manage to find love. Yeah, woo. It is the same director as Real Genius. And what else did she do? It's a female director. I don't generally like female directors, but I think this movie's actually pretty well done. If you don't like the 80s, then you definitely are not going to like this movie. But honestly, it's probably one of Nicolas Cage's better movies, I want to say. I think probably my favorite of his has got to be Vampire's Kiss. It's gotta be. I can't think of. That's hard though because he did a really great job in Pig. I even really liked him in Willy's Wonderland. Wild at Heart. There's a lot. Yeah, Noah is agreeing about Wild at Heart. I don't know. He's pretty good in this though, right? You guys don't like, oh yeah, and Mandy, Casey, thank you. How did I not say Mandy? And Renfield, Rob K, yes, and Fun and Kick-Ass, absolutely Ultra Liger. It turns out Nicolas Cage is pretty cool. Oh, and one of my other favorites, obviously, Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. That's like an insane role for him that worked really well. That was actually probably the movie that made me change my mind about him because I thought he was stupid before that, and then he did such an amazing job in the Harvey Keitel role of a Bad Lieutenant movie, which is insane because Harvey Keitel is one of the most terrifying, evil, vile characters in the original Bad Lieutenant. So how the heck was Nick Cage, goofy, doofy Nick Cage, going to fill that role? And then he did. And so, I really like him now. So big fan. So yeah, I got Valley Girl. Do you guys remember that one? Did everybody watch that? It's just like a likable characters, good party vibe. It's like, yeah, it's fine. It's a fine, fun movie. Maybe the dialogue is not so great, but I think that the dialogue is not so great because it's intentionally like the Valley Girl. I can't do Valley Girl impression. I don't like, whatever. I just realized I have another sort of Valley Girl-ish movie in the stack that we're going to be getting into in a moment here. Before we do that, though, I do see, hi, Woody from Syracuse. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. $5. I am dying to know, how many DVDs do you own, and do you collect VHS tapes too? I could not tell you how many DVDs I own. The answer is a lot. I want to say that I did some random count. I'm really bad with paying attention to numbers. I think I did a count recently and it was someplace in the 1,000 vicinity, but I don't entirely remember. So that's I don't know. I have an entire room full of DVDs is the answer to that. DVDs and Blu-rays. And as for VHS, I do collect VHS, but far less than I used to. I actually just got a really wonderful copy of A Boy and His Dog on VHS sent to me from Alex Gangrinously, who recently joined me on the Picnic for Hanging Rock review. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I love me some 70s stuff, and a lot of that, it feels better on a VHS, doesn't it? Don't you think? We also have it's the wonderful Count Drahoon Presents. I got to go be interviewed by a vampire over on Count Drahoon Presents. If you guys want to watch an interview with me, go over there. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. $5. Thank you so much. Pig is my favorite Cage performance. He really outdid himself in Pig. He killed it. He knocked it out of the park in that role. And that movie's just beautiful. That's an incredibly, incredibly beautiful movie. I can't say enough good things about Pig. If you guys haven't seen Pig, go get that. I think I got that actually in one of my last hauls. I definitely own that. So if I didn't put it in a haul video, it means that I got it before I started doing these haul videos. But I for sure have that. All right, next up. This is a weird one. I know I have seen this movie before. I think that I used to own it, and I have, during many moves, lost my copy of it. And I don't remember very much about it. But I am really excited to give it a rewatch. This is 2004's Freak Out. So I am curious if anybody has seen this movie. This is kind of like a buddy horror comedy. It's about two best friends who take like a helpless mental patient and then they try to teach him to become a serial killer. And I remember it really being very funny, a lot of British humor. It was kind of like the same era. Actually, I think it was exactly the same year as Shaun of the Dead. So this, to me, I always associate these two things together very heavily, but I could be totally, totally wrong about that. I am being told by Howard that I'm wasted money on this one. I think this was like $2. Is there still a price tag on the back? It doesn't say the price. Why don't you say the price? This was a very inexpensive purchase. I remember liking it though. Is it not good? That's a Walmart bin special? Oh, no. All right. Well, I remembered enjoying it more than that. I don't think that the guys who created this movie ever did anything else. I'm pretty sure that this was a one-and-done situation. The director might have made like one or two other movies, but I think overall, not a lot of stuff. I do want to say, though, I know, Howard, you're saying that this is a garbage movie and I shouldn't care so much about it, but look at all this bonus feature stuff that I get in here. It's a double disc. This is why we like physical media, right? This was the era. The early 2000s was the era where they were trying to like really make you want to buy things. So I have this like nice little like booklet. I feel like you never get this in movies anymore. They're always just totally blank. So I get, let's see. 2 helpless knuckleheads, 1 prehistoric movie camera, approximately 30,000 pounds, which says AKA $56,000. That conversion can't still be right here 20 years later. I think we're doing substantially worse than that with our American currency these days. And 4 years out of your lifetime. I don't understand what this is explaining at all. Microwaved Milli Vanilli LP. All right, maybe this movie did lose me. Why do I remember this as being funny? It looks funny, right? I don't know. All right. Well, I'm going to have to watch it and figure out if it's any good or not. There's tons and tons of special features, like I said, on this disc. I think the second disc is entirely, yeah, it's got behind the scenes. It's got a featurette. It's got multiple audio commentary tracks. 5-minute film school. That sounds fun. Humorous and informative film school giving tips to wannabe filmmakers whilst at the same time spoofing the famous 10-minute film school of Robert Rodriguez. That sounds perfectly fun, right? I love that. I think that sounds like a good time. I don't know. I'm excited about it, Howard. You stop telling me that you don't like my movie picks. It's great. No, you're allowed to say whatever you want. I don't care. Next up, okay, I said that there would be another Valley Girl-ish movie, and I was right. There is another Valley Girl-ish movie, or at least the star of this was in another Valley Girl-ish movie. This is 1997's Excess Baggage. I also remember really liking this movie. And I also am not sure if I own this. And this also might suck. It's entirely possible that this is an absolutely god-awful movie, and I just remember it being really funny and amazing. It is the same director as Demolition Man, and it has Alicia Silverstone. Obviously, her character fakes a kidnapping of herself in order to try to mend a relationship with her father. But during the course of her trying to fake the kidnapping, she puts herself into the trunk of a car, and the car gets stolen. So now she's actually kidnapped. And so... oh no, will the car thief be able to steal her heart? This is basically the same movie as Valley Girl, is what I'm just realizing right now. It's not even a little bit, but it kind of feels like it based on how I'm saying words, right? I just remember this as being like silly, silly fun. And it has a stacked cast. This is a great, great cast. It has Alicia Silverstone, Benicio del Toro. It has Christopher Walken, Harry Connick Jr. I remember really being pretty excited about it. As I recall, Del Toro's character, he has this like weird, strange, mumbling delivery that he does where he's like not even really talking and it's like hard to understand. And I think that there was a lot of concerns about about if he could do that voice or not because it was so incredibly distracting. But it's very iconic at this point. In addition to that, I know this is another one, I'm actually just reading here. This says, in August 1995, shortly after the theatrical release of Clueless, Columbia Pictures announced that they had signed film's 18-year-old star Alicia Silverstone to a two-picture production deal. The actress's first project would be Excess Baggage. The film would be made by First Kiss Productions. That was a really boring part of that sentence. I could have stopped that one sentence earlier. Regardless, that is really cool. So she was like 20 years old, I think, when they made this, and she received co-producer credit for it at just 20 years old, which is really, really rad. I think it's neat that she like wanted to go into the film industry in different ways and not just, be in front of the camera, but kind of get to experience what all is going on behind the scenes as well. Howard is coming in with $5. Thank you so much, Howard. And you are wondering if I collect records as well. I have maybe 15 records. I am not a huge record collector. I cannot. I have to stop. I have to limit myself to some amount of media because there's too much and I would never stop buying stuff. So I'm not really big into like action figures. I'm not really big into records. It's almost exclusively movies. I do have a couple of rare records that I really like that I will never get rid of. One of them is actually the, oh my God, what's it called? Dragon Sound. I have the Dragon Sound record from Miami. What is that movie called? You guys know the movie. Miami Connection. That's it. There we go. I got there. So that I have that, and that means a lot to me. But again, overall, it's just like not something. If I started, I wouldn't stop, and I don't have the time and money to do that. I need to focus on movies and movies alone. There's too many things in the world. All right, we're getting into the really exciting movies that I got. The next one is Blue Velvet. David Lynch's Blue Velvet. I just rewatched this and I saw it and I couldn't help but buying it. This is the Criterion Collection copy of this. And I haven't even opened this up yet. So let's get into it. So this came out when? In 86, I think that this came out. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I can't show you the inside of this because Isabella Rossellini is wearing underwear and I can see her butt. What can I show you here? Maybe this. Yay, little booklet, because Criterion Collection things are absolutely wonderful. This movie is just... The way that my mom described this movie to me when I was a kid was she said that it is a movie about a guy who finds a severed ear in a field. But anybody who has seen this knows that that is not even a little bit what this movie is about. It is just a creepy, cool, weird-ass movie. And it's incredible to watch David Lynch's take on basically film noir. This is David Lynch doing film noir, and every single time you think that something is going to be normal, he just gut punches you with some other weird kooky thing that is happening. Like, I'm not going to imitate any of the things that happen in this movie right now, actually, is what's going to happen there. I love this. I had forgotten how good and successful David Lynch is in this film. It's usually one of the movies that I actually put kind of lower on my list of favorite like Lynch films, which is, I guess, a little bit weird. I would say probably my favorite still to this day is Mulholland Drive. That one just, there's something about it that really works for me. I'm a huge fan of Straight Story. I think that is extremely, extremely underrated. And Blue Velvet is great. I'm not at all saying that it is. I don't always think of it as like one of my top ones. Lost Highway is probably up there for me too. That is a very, very big one as well. But again, rewatching this was so great. I think that it's a relatively well-known story, so forgive me if I'm just telling you information that you guys all already know, but I always thought this was such a cool way. So obviously Dennis Hopper is in the role of Frank Booth, the very, very creepy Frank Booth in this movie. And allegedly he got that role because he went up to David Lynch and said, I am Frank Booth. You have to give me this role. And obviously what he meant by that was that he understood the darkness of this character better than anybody else. And it resulted in this like terrifying, unhinged performance that now has one of the... This is probably one of the most infamous performances in film history, which is great, right? I don't know. It's so weird that it's hard to call it great. It's great. You know, it just is. It really is. I love it so very much. All right, so next up we have a TV show. Very exciting. Something a little bit different. You guys know I love TV. Oh no, I left something downstairs that I was going to show you because I'm stupid. Oh well, I'll have to find it and show it to you guys later. I got one of my favorite TV shows of all time on DVD. Now I have bought this twice. I actually own every episode of this TV show on VHS, and I own a DVD of it. However, both of those things I have never been able to actually watch. Like I've seen this TV show before. I have not been able to watch my physical media copies ever before because both of them are PAL. So they are the UK version of DVDs and VHSs. And so I cannot play them on my stupid United States players of anything. So this, I finally did it, you guys. I am 99.9% sure that this copy of The Prisoner is going to be playable on my United States DVD players. And I'm really excited about it. This is one of the best TV shows of all time. If you have not seen this, you need to stop the things that you're doing and watch it. It's only like 16 episodes. It's not that long. It is so good. How many episodes? Oh, 17 episodes. It's 17 episodes. I am in love with the show so much. It is a British TV show from the 1960s starring Patrick McGoohan. He plays number 6, who is a nameless intelligence agent, and he ends up getting abducted, and he wakes up one day on a mysterious like coastal village island after he resigns from his job. And so obviously something is going on and he's trying to figure that out. And everybody is called by a number. So you're literally ranked in this little teeny tiny town. There's this bubble that goes by that's called Rover that tries to get people back if they try to escape from the island. It's really creepy. And you're probably most familiar with this if you haven't ever heard of this before. You have probably heard of one of the most famous phrases from this, which are the most famous quotes, I guess, which is, "I am not a number, I am a free man," which is sampled in a great Iron Maiden song called "The Prisoner" and lots of other places. This was such a like a pop culture phenomenon that if you haven't seen this, I guarantee that you have seen tons and tons and tons of things that reference this, and you don't even realize that the references are happening. It is so super weird and so super cool. And again, it's probably in my top 3 favorite TV shows of all time. So I'm happy to own it on physical media for the 3rd time. When I got those VHS episodes, I was talking about how I got the VHS episodes on VHS. That was a very redundant sentence. Great job, Kaylee. I got them and I was so excited. I ordered them on eBay. The year was probably 1998. I ordered them on eBay and I was so excited because as this was a British TV show, it was really hard to find in the United States and I wanted to see them. And I got them and I was all excited. And then I realized that they would not play at all in the VHS player that I had. So it took me a long time to finally see the show, but it was well worth the wait. So yeah, favorite TV show up there with The Simpsons, The Wire is probably in the top 3. And I'm going to give a bonus to... I always feel like I want to mention Horace and Pete's as a really great TV show. I think you can still see Horace and Pete's entirely for free on Louis C.K.'s website. It stars him and Steve Buscemi. It's sort of a comedy, but mostly, like, don't let the fact that those two are in it make you think that it's a comedy. It also has, what's her name? Laurie Metcalf. Laurie Metcalf gives the best monologue in any film, TV, anything ever in that show. She's outstanding, absolutely outstanding. So yeah, I got The Prisoner. Another thing that I did with The Prisoner, because I love it so much, so I mentioned that it's all set in this weird little coastal town. That coastal town is actually a real town. It's called Port Marion, and it's in Wales. And so the last time that I was in Wales, I actually went there so that I could see where The Prisoner was getting filmed and everything. And that town is really, really incredibly cool. If you ever happen to be traveling over there or if you ever live there, I would very highly recommend going to Port Marion. It is a town that was built without disturbing the landscape. So every single building is like built into rock walls right along the coast. There's sheep on the coast because it's in Wales, so there's sheep everywhere. And you get to see this town that is almost surreal. It doesn't feel like it really exists. And in fact, much of it doesn't really exist because they do things like there's painted on fake windows in a bunch of the buildings just to make it look prettier from the outside, but they're not real. And it's just very trippy and really, really cool. So that's how much I love The Prisoner. I was going to show off to you guys my old VHSs and also some pictures of me in Port Marion, but I left all of those things downstairs. So, and we're not taking a field trip today. No field trips today. But yeah, I love that show. Did you guys see that one? I'm sure you guys have been talking about it if you saw it, and I got too excited to talk about it to pay attention if you were saying that you saw it. But I love that. I love it so much. It's a solid thriller. This is a solid thriller of a TV show. All right, let's go on. And I am 99% sure that at some point in the chat, I saw somebody asking about this. I believe that somebody was Trucker Andy from All Apologies. And he asked me, what, you didn't pick up It Follows? Well, guess what, Trucker Andy? I did pick up It Follows. I'm very excited to finally have replaced my copy of this movie. I got the steelbook because I'm a fancy, fancy lady. If you guys don't know, I'm going to just tell you this right now, that this is a very big deal for me to own this movie again. I finally replaced the copy of It Follows that my ex-husband took in our divorce. It was like the only thing that he took in our divorce was my copy of It Follows. That's not true at all. He also took my copy of Roar and also a bottle of beer that I really wanted to have. But I was really devastated by this. So I am slowly rebuilding my collection. I now have It Follows. Next up, I have to get a copy of Roar, and then I got to work on that bottle of beer. I know it's a really big challenge for everybody. I love this movie. I think that it's great. I know that it gets a little bit of criticism, but for me, it functions really well. It came out in 2014, and it was directed by David Robert Mitchell. David, stupid steelbooks don't tell you any info. Oh, it's literally right on the top there. Yeah, David Robert Mitchell. I always mix him and Cameron. Michael Cameron Mitchell from Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I always mix those two names up because they're interchangeable. So yeah, this is my nice little steelbook copy of this. Very exciting. Yay. This movie makes me really uncomfortable is how I feel about this movie. I actually gave this a full review over with Tony from Hack the Movies on his channel. So if you want, you can go check that out. I will try to remember to link that down below here. I think that this movie is all about atmosphere. That's what this movie is about. It is set in a non-specific time period, and a lot of people just think that it's a metaphor for STDs because it's just about a teenager who, after sleeping with her boyfriend, realizes that she now is the latest recipient of some curse that is coming to get her, and the curse is passed victim to victim through sex. So it certainly seems like an STD. Now she has to pass on the curse or she's going to die. Whoa, crazy. So as long as we're talking about collecting, though, like I said, you can go check out my full review of this over on Hack the Movies. But I think we'll just talk a little about steelbooks since I was talking about collecting a little bit. I'm not generally a huge fan of steelbooks. They're not something that I want to include in my day-to-day. I mean, they're fine. And when I find a good copy of it, I will absolutely snag it. But I think the whole point of them is that they're supposed to hold their value. I am not getting rid of any of my collection until you pry it from my cold, dead hands. I'm not getting movies because I want to resell them. I'm getting them because I enjoy having them. And I feel like steelbooks, for some reason, just don't have all the special features that you get on all the other things. Maybe I'm wrong about that, and it's just been the steelbooks that I've gotten. Again, they look really great, and some people really like them. They're just not super duper for me. I do like how they look on the shelf, and I am a little bit of a packaging snob, so I enjoy that. I appreciate that. David D is saying, I like their alternative art. I do like the alternative art, and this is like for It Follows. This definitely looks super duper cool. I'm really enjoying it, and I really enjoyed this back cover actually also quite a bit. That's a really nice little touch. But I don't think that I care about the art that much that I'm going to be like, I need the steel book of this. I don't know why I'm doing this with my arms, but I am. Yeah, I don't know. I guess everybody just has their own way of collecting, right? That's kind of like what we do. All right, let's see. What else do we have? This one I'm really excited to own. I'm really excited about owning this movie because it is one of my favorite directors of all time. When I was in college, I actually took 2 different classes about this director, even though I was not a film study person. I did not study film at all in college, but I just really liked this director, so I wanted to learn a lot about him. So this is Akira Kurosawa's 1985 Ran. And I love this movie. I love Akira Kurosawa. He's probably my favorite director. That's such a hard thing to pick, is who's your favorite director, but I think that Kurosawa probably is. So this is not my favorite of his movies, which is why I don't already own this. My favorites of Kurosawa's films are probably Stray Dog and Throne of Blood. I love Stray Dog. That one is not his stereotypical film. It's kind of like a neo-noir. I really, really, really love that one. And I love Throne of Blood so very much. It's stunningly gorgeous. And obviously, if you're talking about Kurosawa, you cannot not talk about Rashomon. That movie is the movie that invented the Rashomon effect, which is the idea of an unreliable narrator or eyewitnesses where like all of the characters are telling their own perspective and interpretation of what actually happened in the real events. And then it's the audience's job to be able to figure it out. But Ron is also amazing when it comes to his catalog. This is an ultimate classic for sure, because it is Kurosawa's retelling of the story of King Lear, which of course is about how an aging ruler is planning to divide up the land that he owns amongst his three children, which results in a power struggle between those three kids. And this movie is vibrant and symbolic. It feels symbolic. The use of color in this feels symbolic to me. I'm sure that there's lots of real analysis on that instead of just me being like, I think it's pretty that the colors are neat. The costumes are outstanding, especially in contrast to the bleak landscapes that we get to see. It's like this like theme of war and chaos and light and interest and family, and the battle scenes are outstanding in this. And I know that Kurosawa really cared a lot about the production of this movie. I believe that the story goes, I think it's that he spent like 10 years or something like that storyboarding this out. So he was like hand painting storyboards in order to make this movie. And now those artworks, he did like every single shot of the film is a storyboarded painting. And now those things are just considered to be art in and of themselves. They're so detailed and so beautiful. I believe that he was using them as like proof of concept artwork so that he could get funding for this one. But yeah, they're stunning. I should have pulled some of those pictures to be able to show you, but I didn't. So yeah. Also, I think that they built actual castles in order to burn them down in the battle scenes for this one. So yay, practical effects. We all love practical effects over here. That's our dang favorite thing in the world. I love it. I love practical effects. And I love Kurosawa. And I love you guys. And the Wired Christian's coming in for $2 for the best movie reviewer / cat owner. Yeah, I think you love Booger more than I do sometimes. I got to be honest with you. Booger says hello. He is sleeping right now. I got a new couch in my studio room, and he is currently laid on the couch like this. He's a very happy boy. I'm sure that he will probably come and bother me relatively soon. So we'll see if we can last without him for a little bit. And thank you very much for the $2. We are on to the last movie, but we're also going to do some Detroit talk. So, you know, we got some more exciting things to do. I got some pictures to show you guys. It's going to be great. So this last movie that we're going to be talking about today was actually gifted to me by the absolutely amazing Troy Smith. This is Night of the Living Berg. And I am so excited to give this a watch. So I will be honest, I have not watched this yet. Troy Smith just gave this to me in Detroit when we were there for the Who Are These Podcast live event. And this came out last year. I believe it's a short. If Troy, I know I saw Troy in the chat a little bit ago. I think it's a short. If not, maybe he is correcting me right now. And it is about a box of meat that gets contaminated and then cooked into burgers, which creates a killer hamburger. And I am so excited to watch this. It looks super duper fun. So Troy Smith is quite the artist. And one of the things that he did was actually he created the burger puppet for this. So this burger puppet was made by the amazing Troy Smith. And oh my God, I haven't actually opened this up yet. Look how cool this looks. I'm so excited to watch this. I think this is going to just be goofy, silly, fun times, right? I'm literally distracted by it. This looks so good. I'm paying attention to things. Okay, so yeah, Troy Smith created the burger puppet. So I actually have a photograph of me and Troy with the burger puppet from last year. And I did not set up any of that stuff to have it ready to show you right when I said those words. So you're just going to have to bear with me while I... There we go. It's me and a burger puppet. Yay. So that is from last year's Detroit trip. we go to Detroit with Who Are These Podcasts every year. It's absolutely incredible. And I loved getting to hang out with everybody who was there. It was absolutely amazing. Again, no Burger Puppet this year, which was a little disappointing if I'm going to be honest, Troy, but I'll forgive you, I suppose. I really enjoyed being able to do this last year. And this year we got to see Troy Smith again. Troy Smith also this year and most years when we're in Detroit made our show poster, and he does absolutely amazing work on that. So I'm going to show you guys that also, because we're going to get into some Detroit talk about what the heck happened there. Wow, I'm doing really bad at showing you things right now. So this is our Who Are These Podcasts Detroit 4 poster. It's perfect. Back to the Future themed. I love it so much. I'm one of the little hover girl gang girls over there. You can see me in the middle. You can see everybody's looking good. Carl looks like an idiot. My favorite thing that Troy Smith said to me about this is he goes, I photoshopped everybody. I don't know. He didn't say I photoshopped he said I made everything. He said the only person who has their real hair is producer Chris, because we all know that you don't mess with producer Chris's hair. Absolutely not. That would be so inappropriate. And I also really loved this. You guys probably are aware that I have a big, giant crush on Crispin Glover. You might notice that Crispin Glover hanging out over there in the top left corner. That's actually Eric Zane. And Eric Zane and I also have a little crush on each other right now. So that was pretty cool. I liked that he was up there being my little Crispin. So great. Yeah, this poster turned out so good. Troy Smith always kills it with the artwork. And again, I cannot wait to check out Night of the Living Berg. This is going to be super duper fun. I can't wait. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about Detroit. Let's get into it. I had an amazing time. I have an amazing time every year when I go to Detroit. It is probably my favorite time of year. I don't know that I'm ever happier than when we get to go to Detroit with Who Are These Podcasts. So I traveled in with Trucker Andy on Thursday. We arrived. We actually got in right around the same time as one of the new Isotopes go-go dancers, who is Honey Von Mantrap. Now, you might be seeing Honey Von Mantrap in the chats every so often. She is in Melton's chat sometimes. She's in Blind Mike's chat sometimes. Every so often for the Who Are These Podcasts, for PDP, for This Little Piggy, for all of those things. She has become a dabbler. She's joined the dark side. It turns out that us go-go dancers from the Isotopes really enjoy you all very, very much. So this was her first ever live WATP event, which was really cool. And so we all got to hang out, and then we got ready to go to the meetup. The meetup is usually the night before the show, and that's just something that anybody can go to. And it was so awesome. I think that Drew picked the bar that we were going to this year, and it was way better than previous year bars. The bar that we had been going to for a while was like, they had this band that would play, and it would be super loud, and you wouldn't be able to hear anything. And it was I didn't like it, even in the slightest. But this year, the place that we went to was super chill, and everybody just hung out, and it was great to get to see everyone. It felt like it was a little bit more intimate this year, I guess, because of that environment, and I really enjoyed that. And yeah, that was Thursday night. Everybody who I got to meet there was awesome. It was great. I felt very bad because I had promised John's Gimpy Halloween Hand, the Chatter John's Gimpy Halloween Hand. I had promised him that I would let him know where we were going to be at, and I had completely forgotten to let him know. And so I sent him a message, and I was like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry." Like halfway through the night, I sent him a message. I was like, "I'm so sorry, man. Like I totally forgot to message you." And it turned out he was there the whole time, and I just didn't see him because my glasses weren't on, and I'm an idiot is what happened there. So sorry that I literally did not see you, but everybody was great, and I had a wonderful time hanging out with everybody. And then Friday was show day. So Friday was Who Are These Podcasts Live, and show day, typically we just sit around and everybody works all day. So kind of a boring day. I always like those days though, because again, it's just kind of all of us hanging out. We're all sitting on our laptops. Jenny Jingles and I did a Stuttering John package. Jenny did an amazing job on that. I want to just point out, actually, she is learning video editing. And so she did all the clip packages, and it was great. It was super fun to get to sit down with her and just kind of like work through how do I do things, how does she do things. So we were both getting to teach each other different things. It was really, really cool. And I think Andy was over there working on a steel toe segment, and Vinny was working on a cop cam segment, which you can go see on the Creep Off now. I believe he's already cut it up. And I assume that Carl was working on stuff, but I don't actually have any evidence of that. So I don't know. Maybe he just assigns all this work to us and then doesn't do anything. I'm not entirely sure about that. But regardless, we got to go to the venue after we got all prepared, and we put on a show, and it was great. I did that John segment, like I said, with Jen Jingles and Andy, and we had Chris and Carl up on stage. But I also got to do a segment with Eric Zane, my fake Crispin Glover, on the radio show Chuck and Dave, I think is what it's called. I already forgot what it's called. It's a Detroit area radio show, and it was so awesome working with him. He put together an incredible package. Absolutely incredible. And again, as you know, we have a little bit of a crush on each other, so he and I kept like rubbing shoulders. We were rubbing shoulders, and the crowd was amazing in Detroit. You guys are always amazing in Detroit. Dang it. I cannot get over the first time that I really started falling in love with Who Are These Podcasts and the Dabbleverse is, it was Detroit 1, actually. So I went to Detroit 1, and I had listened to a little bit of what Carl did, and I had listened to like a little bit of all this stuff. But I went to that first year Detroit, so 4 years ago now, and I got to see my friends doing something in front of a live studio audience that I didn't know how much people loved and respected them. It feels weird to say that about Carl. No, Chris deserves it, but you know, I fell in love with it. I was so enamored by the fact that everybody was so talented, and that I was so lucky to have friends that were able to create something. But I really enjoyed it. So that was great. And what else? The crowd is great in Detroit is what I was saying, I think. I don't know. I lost my train of thought a little bit. I do have to admit, though, it was a little bit loud in the back. So I got to steal the very infamous Ted Williams' line and tell the people in the back to shut the fuck up. And actually, I got this picture from Christian Blatt of me yelling at the people in the back. And that's probably my favorite picture of all of the entire event. I'm yelling at everybody in the back to shut up there because they were being really loud. They were being so loud. And then after I got off stage for this segment, I went in the back again and I eyeballed everybody to shut the fuck up because they were being so fucking loud. I like hanging out in the back for these events because I like to be able to see everything that's happening. And so I will notice when people are louder than they were. Anyway, yeah, that's literally my favorite picture. I feel like it looks like, what's that meme with the woman and she's like yelling and there's like the cat, you know? I look like that a little bit here, which is maybe not the nicest thing for me to say about myself. But regardless, I had a wonderful, wonderful time. And I think that now all of at least a ton of the segments are up on the Who Are These Podcast channel. Like I said, I know that the Cop Cam that Vinny did is over on the Creep Off channel. Don't forget to go and subscribe to both of those guys, and also to Trucker Andy at All Apologies Podcast, to Tony from Hack the Movies. It's a good time to be appreciating all these people. We love everybody. I love everybody. I'm so thankful. DeWired Christian, of course, says vote Vinny, and Husey Entertainment is mortified to be friends with me over here with €2. Hack the Movies. Sack the host. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's very, very mean. We're always nice to Tony from Hack the Movies over here. I am so appreciative that you guys came and hung out with me during this little movie haul. Oh, I'm stupid actually also. I shipped some of the movies that I got and I thought I was going to have them by now, and I don't. So yeah, there will be another movie haul coming up soon with more Detroit stuff in it. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for this one, and I cannot wait for the next one, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.